Okay, I'm gonna hang up. Bye. Hello, welcome to my show. I'm going to be doing a show on healing and faith during medical crisis. And since I've had a year of experiencing this myself, and I've been offline for about 9 months, maybe a little bit more than that. And I'm rebuilding my channel and coming back into the community now. Um, I thought this would be a great topic to share with people and talk about some of the things I personally have gone through. And I work with a beautiful community of readers. And one of the things a lot of the readers always say to me is the amount of strength I have for everything I've gone through. Sort of give you a background. 2 years ago in 2019, or is it 19? Let's see. Dean and I were backtracked it a little bit ago, and I'm tired tonight. Let's see. October I had surgery. May 23. Okay, 19 in May of 22, I had vascular surgery, and then I had complications, and then a few months later I had a procedure to deal with fluid buildup, and then it got worse, and then I ended up back in surgery the following May in 23, and then that went totally awry, and I ended up being referred down to UCLA, where I've been working with the vascular department team. Um, Ended up enduring an 8-hour surgery for reconstructive surgery, and I had an allergic reaction to, of all things, they had put a not a stent. They had done a bypass and used artificial tubing, and I had a very, very rare allergic reaction to the artificial vein that they put in, which caused a huge fluid buildup, which ended up encapsulating from my on my left leg, my knee all the way up to my hip was encapsulated in a huge sack of fluid. So they had to go in and repair that and remove the fluid sac and drain all the fluid off. And then, of course, I was having a huge fluid built up post surgery. So they ended up putting surgical drains in, which I wore from October 11th was when I had surgery. I had the drains in from October 11th to December 28th. And I was losing anywhere from 2 cups of fluid building up in my leg every day. I mean, I had to track the fluid and kept on going in to get additional treatments where they were trying to stop the fluid. And it was a hit or miss. It turned into the entire vascular team coming together and troubleshooting how to stop this fluid buildup and trying new techniques to stop this. It happens rarely, but when it does happen, it's extremely dangerous to have a drain post-surgical vascular surgery because you have a high risk of introducing bacteria into the wound through the drain outlet. So we're watching for infections, and they're injecting these different medications directly into where the fluid was building up to try to stop that fluid buildup. And it was quite a procedure. I went back every week. I mean, from where I live, I mean, just to put it in perspective, to travel with the gas prices at $5 an hour, to travel the 3.5 hour drive to LA from my house, park. We were packing picnic lunches, the whole 9 yards, $100 a pop every time I went to LA, which really was, and I was going every week and sometimes twice a week. So it was, for 8, 9, 10 weeks this went on. And then in December, talking about medical crisis, I woke up in the middle of the night and I sat up in the most excruciating pain I've ever had in my life. And my I'd had an ulcer that had formed in my stomach. I've had it for years. I've been treating it for years. Well, it decided to perforate. And when it perforated and I moved in my sleep, we toss and turn in our sleep naturally. When I had rolled over in my sleep, it caused my stomach to rip open. And when it ripped, it went all the way through my bowel. And I had about a foot of from my stomach all the way into my bowel that had literally ripped open and dumped into my abdominal cavity. The worst pain in my life. I couldn't even begin to describe the pain. Childbirth, I would do a million times before I would go through that pain again. So excruciating. They had given me um, morphine. They'd given me in IV form morphine. Didn't touch it. Then they gave me Dilaudid. Didn't touch it. Then they gave me fentanyl. And after they gave me the fentanyl, they said, "Oh no, we've overdosed her." Had a nurse standing by my side nonstop to make sure I wasn't going down. Didn't even touch the pain. I mean, the fentanyl. It was like 5 minutes, and I was back in pain. It was so excruciating, and they didn't have a surgeon available in the hospital. I was in my local hospital, so I was transported to Fresno, and I ended up in emergency surgery in Fresno. And I listen to Linda G, and she always says, just surrender to God, you know. And believe me, I was like, please God, just take me. I cannot bear anymore. I've endured too much through my life. This is it. I surrender. Just I'm not afraid to die. Take me. I'm your servant. And I hear my guides, my angels, my guardians, like a choir in my ear. And they said, just breathe. We've got your back. And it was all of a sudden, I just felt myself just instantly take this deep breath. And then I felt this warm white light around me. About that time, the anesthesiologist had come in, and I had talked to him earlier and told him there's no way I could be able to lay down, because if I laid down, it stretched the bowel and the stomach and I could feel it ripping more. And I said, you're going to have to knock me out sitting up. There's no way I'm going to be able to lay down, because it causes me so much pain. And I'm leaning forward, like rolled up in a ball in a sitting position at the end of the gurney. And I couldn't even sit back against the gurney straight up. I couldn't do it. I couldn't get positioned. I was in so much pain. And he goes, I don't know if I can do that, but I'll work on it. And so when he came into the OR, he walks up to me, and I had just had that experience with my angels tell me, I'm not done. I've got things to do still. No, I'm not. It's not my time. I'm gonna stay. They've got my back. Just breathe. They've got my back. And I'm like, okay. And he walks in. He goes, wow, there's light all around you. And I'm like, well, it's a surgical. And I look up, and there's no lights on, just the room lights. They hadn't put the surgical lights on yet. And I could actually see the aura of this light coming off me. And he goes, I've got it figured out. And he has a mask in his hand. And he goes, I'm going to give you nitric oxide to start relaxing you. And then I'll push the antibiotics or the anesthesia. And so he did that. And he goes, just breathe. I've got your back. Lean against my arm. He had his arm behind my back so he could lay me back as I was going out. And as I started breathing that nitric oxide, they pushed the anesthesia, and I was out cold, and that was the end of the pain until I woke up in my room. So, it was quite an ordeal. I was in the hospital for 8 days, and drains. I still have the drain in my leg, mind you. Drain in my leg, drain in my abdomen, which I wore for the 8 days I was in the hospital and a week after I got out. And leaking everywhere. but I survived it. And this was over Christmas. And, what I told all my friends and relatives is I got the best gift for Christmas. I was given the gift of life and a renewal of my faith, um, an overpowering renewal of my faith. And I've always had a lot of faith, but knowing that you have this team of angels and they do have your back. And when you just had enough, you know, and I'm talking with Brenda from Brenda's Tarot, and I called her the day after I had surgery to let her know I was in the hospital, and she had been sending me Reiki, and she said, "Oh, I was doing Reiki on you. That I don't, before I told her I was in the hospital, she goes, I don't know what was going on. It's this chaos, this energy, this very strange energy." And I said, "She's on the East Coast. I'm on the West Coast." And I said, "Was that about 4 o'clock this morning?" She goes, "Yeah." And I said, "I was having abdominal surgery. I was having emergency surgery," and told her what happened. And she goes, "Oh my God, that's what that was." She could actually feel that energy when she was doing the Reiki on me. Is absolutely amazing. So, work, we're very connected. Um, in this wonderful group of psychics and mediums that I work with. And she's an absolute fabulous medium, Dean, fabulous, good friend of mine, Snow Wolf. Somebody I've been mentoring for a long time. One of these days, we're going to get him on because he is quite talented. He's a little camera shy. We've talked about him doing some narration for me, sort of like Violetta does, have him ask me the questions. He goes, "I don't have to go on the camera, do I?" I said, "Not if you don't want to. Really nice somebody feed me because I'm a very open channel, and when I work with him a lot, I do a lot of channeling with him. Um, and when he asks me questions, I'm just like snap, 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 answer, answer, answer. It's pretty amazing. Um, so we've talked about doing some programs like that, but I'm getting back in and building up the program. But it's one of the things that all of us go through different periods of time in our life, and I don't know. I've known for a long time that um, I would be giving a contribution to medical science. That's part of my life path. I've been in numerous studies through my life. Childhood thyroid disease. I've had retinopathy and almost gone blind. And then I worked with the retinal research with Loma Linda University. I was in that study for a 5-year period of doing reversals on retinopathy. They reversed it. I didn't lose my sight. Back when I was I think it was in 2007, I had a stroke that the blood clot landed on my optic nerve. And the only reason I didn't lose my vision in my right eye was because I had retinopathy and I had grown all these new blood vessels. I'm a type 1 diabetic, which this is something common is with diabetics too. They don't want you to grow all these blood vessels because it can cause blindness and they can burst and they can cause floaters in your eyes and it really impact your vision. Um, but because I had grown all these new blood vessels when I had retinopathy, I was actually getting blood flow to the other part of my eye because the blood clot's literally right in the center where the three blood vessels come together at the optic nerve. And they restored because I was getting that blood flow. It kept me from going blind because I have oxygen going to my eye, which allows my optic nerve to function, and it saved my sight. So I have a partial blind spot in my right eye. Lost some peripheral vision, but God's taking care of me still. I'm very fortunate, and I've had very fortunate to have a really good team of doctors that I was working with during that process. And so I've been doing that. Then I'm part of a research project, the vascular surgery team at UCLA now. they're working on papers from all this unusual stuff going on with my leg, and I also have I, I have a, I call myself a shipwreck. I'm a medical shipwreck. I have um, pancreatitis runs in my family, chronic pancreatitis, and I have chronic pancreatitis, and I produce no insulin. I have divism in my pancreas and cysts that are cancerous. My mom died of pancreatic cancer. I'm in the research project for tracking genetics in pancreatic cancer. And I got the short straw from him. The only one in the family got the short straw, besides my mother and prior relatives. It is a genetic disorder, and I'm ranked 75 percentile. And my mom told me on her deathbed, about a week before she passed, that I would get pancreatic cancer, but I would be diagnosed in stage 2, and that there's medical research going on that will be new and up and coming. Then a little while later, I can't remember which reader read it. They said I would be in a research project in a few years for some kind of new genetic technology that's coming. Well, we now know what it is. It's CRISPR technology. I have not, it hasn't turned cancerous yet, but I'm checked regularly and they track that. So these are the contributions that I'm going to be doing, I know, in my lifetime for this. But and it's funny because when I was in college, I was pre-med and I was actually studying genetics. And I got offered into the program at UCLA into the genetic. And I had to turn it down because I had a 4-year-old and no relatives that lived down there. I did not have the resources to uproot, move to LA with a 4-year-old, do 180 hours of college internships, lab work. I couldn't get it to work. And I ended up working in law instead. And but I've always kept up with all the research and everything. And I always thought, well, I've failed that process because I should have been a doctor, should have been doing research all these years. That's really where my goals were. I didn't know I was going to be the patient doing research. I guess it was sort of predestined. Our life paths have ways of finding themselves. If we get diverted from one path, we're put on another. I'm still contributing. I may not be doing the research. I'm now the guinea pig. So I for years, when you have illness and you're sick a lot, and it causes immune problems and you get sick easier. You can really hit some points of depression, and just lose a lot of faith. And at some point in time, I changed my mindset. I had been diagnosed with MS on top of it all. Just why not? We'll throw another one at me. So I ended up going out on medical disability because my MS progressed so bad from stress that I started having a lot of relapses, and I was losing my ability to balance and walk, and it impacted me cognitively. When I stress out, people will notice times I can't find my words. It's because I'm having a cognitive relapse. And in fact, when my legs started swelling last Saturday, I instantly went into a cognitive relapse, and I sat down and I'm thinking, oh, not again. Oh God, and I know it's going to be surgical, and I know where this is going. I dreamt about it. I cannot read. I cannot stroke cards for myself. I cannot read that way for myself. I can have other people read for me, but I cannot read myself. But I do have cognitive dreams about my own issues, which usually always come true. But in fact, before this blew up, I had a dream that I ended up in the ER with something really wrong with my leg, and I was getting rushed into surgery. So as soon as I realized what was going on, I called and got right in because I don't want this to turn into some crazy emergency. And I sort of went into panic mode. And then it dawned on me that night when I'm meditating and I'm doing my nightly prayers for everybody. And I thought, this is ridiculous. I went through all that surgery with my ruptured bowel and all that and did not have a relapse, which is really weird considering the amount of physical stress I was going through. And it dawned on me, I knew I was in good hands. My angels told me I was going to live. They had my back, and I didn't panic. And I went, why am I panicking now? I just need to move forward and take care of it. Get in to see the doctor. Don't ignore it. Don't go, oh, it's not nothing. I just don't want to deal with it. Just deal with it. So I called Monday and got the appointment. I sent pictures over to I have the email to the RN that works directly under my doctor. Sent that in, called, got the appointment set up, going in on the 11th. And as soon as I accepted what was going on, I quit panicking. And when I quit panicking, the relapse stopped. And I went, oh, that's interesting. And I was thinking about doing what different topics I could talk about. And the way we deal with stress in our life and crises that come up in our life can really test our faith. And it's really easy to have your faith tested, especially when it's like one thing after another, and you're in constant crisis mode. And learning to surrender to that energy and realize that this isn't going to take you out. I don't have a fear of dying. I've had a near-death experience when I was 28. I know what the other side looks like. I know what I have to look forward to. But just to be able to keep that faith, find that connection with spirit, sometimes can be very difficult. And you just have to have trust that I meditate all the time. I'm very connected with my guides. And that keeps me grounded. And I just have to put the faith in. I need to do what I need to do to move forward. And so many of us have medical problems or have family members that are going through medical problems. And we go into crisis mode. And sometimes you just need to stop, take care of yourself. And I always laugh when we read cards, because anytime somebody reads for me, I get a temperance card in my reading. Somewhere in my reading, temperance will always show up. And it's true. That temperance card for me is a very important thing. I got to remember to calm down, be patient, take care of myself. I'm always taking care of others. Sometimes I need to stop and take care of myself. And, normally when I'm going through all this, everything's in chaos. I'm still pushing through. I'm still going to work. I'm still, all my life. And 9 months ago, why I stopped coming on is because I had so much on my plate that it was very overwhelming. And I kept on hearing my guides tell me, you need to practice temperance. And they would show, I'd see visions of temperance cards, every temperance card I've ever seen. And I'm like, yeah, I need to stop and take care of myself. I've taken care of my husband through back surgery. I'm carrying everything at home. Financial stresses have been just absolutely overwhelming this last year. It was just piling. And, when I stopped and said, you know what, it's time that I take care of myself. It's time that I re-empower myself. That take it every day at a time. Slow down, smell the roses. Realize that I cannot do everything. I should not have to do everything on my own. That I deserve to be taken care of by others too. My husband. We went a few rounds. It put a lot of stress on our marriage because we both went down at the same time. He had back surgery, and a month later, I had vascular surgery. We were both crippled and not moving around real good. So it really put a lot of stress. And we've been together 20 years, and 20 years, this is our first crisis, as a couple, which is really unbelievable. Um, we didn't go through uh, the, a lot of ups and downs. We've been very fortunate that way, but we have reconciled our differences now, and we're working together as a team again. We got back on the same page, and um, sometimes you just have to stop and care for yourself, stand your ground. You've got to get rest. You can't take care of other people if you're constantly exhausted. If you're under so much stress that you're not even having faith in what's happening around you, and then reaching out and helping others and helping others and helping others. And I love what I do. I've been given this gift to share with people, to deliver messages for them and to read for them and to hopefully help them get their connection with spirit. And that's what my message is. It's that being able to connect with spirit, to have faith when things seem so rough. It's not the end. And if it is the end, surrender. But God has a way of taking care of us. God or the higher source or whichever, I'm not a heavily religious person. Um, in regards to church and that kind of faith. I do have faith in God. I have faith in my angels and my guardians. They've always been with me. Um, and I lost in my youth. I did have a separation with my faith. Um, and when I reconnected with my faith, it's done nothing but growing. And I don't know, there's sort of an evolution that we have as we age up too. We reconnect with our belief systems, our spirit, our soul, what our journey is, what our purpose in life is. Um, when I had my near death experience when I was 28, and when I came back, I remember talking with my mom about it, and I said, I kept on arguing with my guardians. I'm not ready to go. I have things I haven't finished yet. I haven't finished my job. And I said, "But I don't know what I'm supposed to do." And she goes, "Well, why didn't you ask them?" I was dead. I was just wanting to come back. I wasn't thinking at that level. And so I spent like most of my 30s trying to figure out what the hell it is I was supposed to be doing. And when I retired, we had bought this house, and my house faces east, and I love sitting outside in the morning. And I'm a redhead, so sitting out in the sun is not something redheads do a lot. But in the morning sun, I don't burn. And so I get up really early in the morning. We've always lived on a ranch, and so I have rancher hours. I get up at the crack of dawn before it gets like I meditate in the morning. I love that stillness of the morning when the world hasn't woke up yet. There's not a bunch of traffic going on, and I drink my cup of coffee, and I'm quitting smoking or trying to smoke a cigarette, my bad habit, and then I meditate and I watch that sunrise and I connect with spirit. And it's so quiet and so peaceful. It's just like that peace before the whole world wakes up and the volume goes up. It's just a really great time for me. And I suggest, it's worth getting up an hour early to just connect before the world gets noisy. Um, but I get a message from my guides after we had bought the house, and I said, what is my purpose? I got this message. Oh, you've completed that. You've completed your path now. And I'm like, well, what was it? And I get this flash of like my career, my people I had talked to. And I went, oh, it wasn't any one thing. It was a conglomeration of how I interacted with the world was what my purpose was, how I help people in service in my job, in my business, people I had come in contact through the years. It's rather amazing. We aren't here for one goal. We're here for everything we touch, everybody we touch in life. It's the big picture of what we do. And then I thought to myself, well, what do I do now? Am I on just borrowed time? And they laughed. They said, no, you've got new goals. You're here to learn as much as you can, absorb everything. I'm an avid reader. I'm a news junkie. Um, that's what I do. I'm retired. I have all the time in the world. Um, I do a lot of research. I do a lot of follow. And, me getting on the computer and doing research is like jumping down a rabbit's hole. I could get lost in 8 hours of research because it just fascinates me. Um, I reach out. I mentor other readers that I meet. And help them through their journey. I've had a mentor group. I work with individuals. I just really enjoy that. I enjoy people. I enjoy public contact. And this is how I keep my faith. And I never try to look at life as what I don't have. It's what I do have. My cup's always half full. Regardless of how many struggles I have, my cup's always half full. And I feel very fortunate to have a great community of friends and a community that I can talk to and I can give back to. And that's why I do this. So that's sort of what I wanted to talk. And well, of course, thank everybody for being part of this wonderful community. Um, and just to share my story with people. Um, and I know that we've got people in the group. We've have a one of our readers has been diagnosed with Parkinson's. That's now going through the struggle, which is can be a very similar disease to MS. It's a muscular neurological disease. I have several friends that I've met through online that have MS, and it's nice to talk to somebody else that has it because it's not a dime a dozen disease, and everybody reacts differently to how their body functions in it. Um, I have a lot of spasms, and it makes it hard for me to sleep at times, and um, I get brain fog periodically, and things like that. I've had numerous strokes in my life, heart surgery. Oh yeah, I went through heart surgery too this year. It's been a full plate, but it's made me stronger. And despite the pain, don't really want the pain part, but despite the pain, it has strengthened me um, tremendously. And I'm just really grateful that I'm here and that I'm here to help people on their journey. And hopefully when I read for you and I channel for you, and that it helps you out in your life and helps you move forward. So I just wanted to say thank you to everybody that has the letters, the emails through this period of time, and numerous emails and support, and those that have helped out with my GoFundMe page, my PayPal. Grateful for any help that I can get. And that's really hard. One of the hardest things for me to do is to ask people to help me because I'm used to giving. I'm not used to receiving. Um, my sister's the one in the family that money falls out of the sky, and she walks into a casino with $5 and it comes out with 1,500. That's not me. Well, one, I don't gamble, but you know, uh, I'm not that lucky person that money falls out of the sky from. But I've always had a lot of faith, and when I'm in need, it arrives. I don't know why, but you know, which also strengthens our faith. Does anybody have any questions about going through anything similar, or dealing with their parents? I was there when my mom was going through cancer. Probably one of the hardest things. I was so close to my mother. Very, very difficult to watch your parent go from this vibrant, brilliant woman to a vegetative state over a 2-year period. Very, very difficult. And she was also a medium, unbelievable woman, um, and taught me so much. I was well into my 30s before I realized that she had spent a lifetime teaching me how to ground myself. We never said, "Oh, you're a medium, you have these talents." I've always seen dead people. I've always been terribly afraid of the dark because I always had ghosts, and which is frightening when you're a child. Well, I've discovered it's not so much the fear of the dark is I'm when I wake up at night and I know there's spirit in the room. Of course, I've learned to block my space. My bedroom is now off limits to spirit walking through. I actually have a shield around my bedroom. They're not allowed to cross the thresholds of my room. The sign's off. They get stuck in the doorway. They cannot cross into the room. I can see them in the hallway, but they can't come in. And I ignore them. I say, come back later. um, yeah. If you need my help, when I'm up in the morning and I'm dressed, come see me. We'll see what we can do for you. Um, I get spirits come through and their their guardians bring them forward to help them cross and things like that. So it's sort of strange. I know I've taught Dean to do a lot of that as I was mentoring through working with him. The guy is like has a freeway through his house sometimes um, of people just showing up because they've died and didn't realize it. It's sort of funny. I'm sorry, I'm not reading the chat. I'm having a hard time reading the chat. Just not evidence. Yeah. Yeah. Just wipe them on. Blow 'em off. Yes, it was your brother, Snow Wolf, that, what, 2 days he bothered me before I realized that that was your brother. And he had some messages. His brother's wonderful too. He sees me periodically. He channels his own brother now, which is nice. But anyways, it's fun to work with people and to help people out and help people find their talents. I'm very good at picking up on the talents that other people have. But anyways, I just wanted to sort of share my story and talk about rather than when I went under different over time all these different medical crises and stuff, rather than it bringing me down, it now strengthens my faith um, because I've come to realize that this is just a journey and it's just one level of a journey. One, death is an ending. It's just a transformation into an ascension into a new plane. That your existence doesn't stop at the time you leave the shell. This is just temporary. Um, I know I've lived many, many, many lives, um, a lot of reincarnations. They show me them, which is which has got me really turned on to becoming a history buff um, and connecting with that. Like you still connect, Snow Wolf. That's part of the channeling is that connection with the emotions, the energy, you know. Talking about channeling where the seeing goes, that's always a fun conversation when you see spirit. And I've heard other people ask, well, what do you see when you see spirit? Well, it depends. Sometimes I just see an energy field. Sometimes I see the orbs. Sometimes I see a full blown apparition. It looks as real as you and I. It depends on what level that spirit's at, if they've crossed over or not and come back. Because our loved ones can visit us. So, I mean, I know when my aunt, when my one of the things I don't like, I don't read for public deaths. I'll see them. I will not say a thing because it is not kosher for me to say, hey, somebody in your family is going to die and it's going to happen, within this time frame. I can't do it. And well, one, I don't want the responsibility, but I foresee the deaths of my loved ones. Um, and my father came to me to let me know my nephew was going to die, except for nobody. I didn't get the who it was. I just knew somebody in the family was going to die, and it was going to impact me tremendously. Well, I raised my nephew. Um, he was my I was 28 when he was born. I was wanting another baby so bad. Well, we get what we want, even if we're not in the position to have it. And I wasn't married and I wasn't in a relationship. And, the last thing I need to be is a unwed mother. I already had one child, and my sister and brother-in-law had a baby, and their life was so busy, they just dropped him off and left him. And I had him all the time. And I loved him. He was my baby. Called me mama first. That really pissed my sister off. And then once he realized that I wasn't mama, because my sister took a few days off work after she heard him call me mama to train him who his mama was. And my sister's name is Nancy. And my brother-in-law used to call my sister Nana. And so I got the name Nana, and Anthony all my life called me Nana. Because if I wasn't mama, then I must be Nana, and he just got us confused. And that's how that happened. And so both my nephews, my sister's children, call me Nana. But it was a beautiful relationship. But the week before he passed away, my dad kept on coming in full operation. And he would just stand there and he wouldn't say anything. And I can communicate with my father, but he wasn't talking. He was just showing me, and I could see that he was sad. And I would say, is there something wrong? And he would drop his head, tears would roll down his eyes, and he'd just fade away. This happened for 2 weeks straight, daily. And then I get a phone call. My nephew was killed on a head-on collision. He had came over the day before he died, spent the entire day with me. We went out to dinner. I made him lunch. And he's 28. He's busy. He's having a life. He's finding himself, and he's fell in love with a really good friend of mine. I've known her for years, and he said, I met this wonderful girl, and they've been seeing each other for 2 years, and they were talking marriage. He had looked into becoming an electrician. He was going to he had already applied for the program, and I mean, just it's in that figuring it all out point of his life, and happy, and boom, next day it hit. A man fell asleep coming home after an 18-hour shift, and he shouldn't have been driving. 2-hour drive home to the mountains, mind you. And he took the back way in so he'd be safe. He could have been home in an hour had he taken the freeway. And he fell asleep behind the wheel and veered into my nephew on a 2-way road. My nephew had no place to turn off, to get out of his way. Hit him head on and killed him. Horrid. Tore the family apart. Great loss. And so I always say, when you foresee that, though, that's just God's way of telling you to be prepared for the up and coming event. It keeps you from the falling apart crisis. And it's very difficult to watch that. And I used to take it very personally because I was trying to stop it from happening. And it took me forever to realize that my knowing wasn't to stop it. It was to be able to deal with it when it came to crisis mode. What about when I see blue moving shapes? Are they light spectrums of shapes, Mary Lloyd? I see all kinds of different images. Sometimes I see orbs. Sometimes I see people will see behind me. I've had people when I'm reading. Sometimes they'll see a giant blue orb that sort of surrounds me with a gold edge on it. That's my father. That he comes in the room, I can actually feel him resting his arms on my shoulder. Um, that's how people will see him in the room. Um, I had a spirit like right here in the background when I was talking to Dean one night, right before my best friend from high school called me. Dean's like, God, your house is just full of orbs. And I said, I'm looking at I was seeing a few of the orbs in the camera on screen. We were FaceTiming. And I said, yeah, but do you see that blue being there? It's just a light being. I said, I don't know who that is. I didn't recognize the energy. And I think it was his guardian coming forward. And then the phone rang, and I'm like, why is Ron calling me? And I'm like, hmm. And then it clicked on me that I had saw him on Facebook the night before, like in the middle of the night. And I clicked the message over and said, wow, it's been a long time since we talked. Give me a call sometime. You can call me through Messenger. And he did. And we were on the phone for 3 hours together. It was great. Been 40 years. And it was like we'd seen each other yesterday. So it's funny how things happen, and people get there. Him and his wife are going to come down in a couple months, and I'm actually going to get to see him after 40 years. So that'll be fun. But yeah, the solid blue shape, triangles, circles, and balloon shape. Well, when my daughter was growing up, she had 5 colored shapes. My daughter also is a medium, although she's not dealing about it. She doesn't talk about it and blah, blah, blah. She calls me and asks me for a reading. I said, why are you asking me when you already know the answer? She goes, I just need you to reconfirm what I already know. Okay. But anyway, she had 3 children's spirits, a red triangle, a green square, the shapes of their dresses, and they would play up and down the hallway. And the little girl in red that made noise all night and kept her awake in her bedroom. And I go to put her clothes away, mind you. Open a closet, and it's stuffed from ceiling to floor with boxes. She had gone out in the garage. I saved moving boxes, Wouldn't want to have to buy them again, if I ever had to move. Had a stack box in there. She taped all the boxes up and filled her closet up. So the little girl in her closet didn't have any place to sleep because she made noise all night, mind you. So yeah, I know my daughter's very psychic. So yeah, spirits can come in all different forms. Um, I've never dealt with a negative spirit. I see aliens too. I have a family of abduction history, and um, I ignored the aliens. I don't want to know. Obviously, they haven't hurt me all these years, but I just don't want to know. I'm not that comfortable with that connection. I can go out and sit out there and I'll see spaceships, and they'll be like, if I'm out there with a group of people, there'll be 1 or 2 people that see them and nobody else sees them. So I don't know if it's just some of us can see them and others just don't, or what. I don't understand how that works. I see energy fields. I connect with energy. I'm unusually gifted from different psychics I've worked with. I'm clairvoyant, clairaudient, and clairsentient. I've got all the clairs. I actually time shift when I can read in time shift. When some of you may have watched Debbie Freebird and I used to do cold case readings, and both of us actually can shift into time and put ourselves into the time period which the crimes were happening. In fact, during one of the readings we did, I had actually been working with my guides, uh, stepping into the victim's shoes, and do not try that on your own. It takes a lot of meditation, a lot of work with your guides to protect yourself from the PTSD you could pick up from it. But I was doing that, and I was blindfolded and tied and bound, and I couldn't see. I could smell, I could hear, I could, what everything was going on. And so I decided to set up to look around. And I did, and I saw Debbie standing across the room. And we both looked in spirit. Very strange, very strange. And we saw each other, our eyes locked. And we were stunned. I mean, because it wasn't something we had talked about. And it was like 2 days later that I finally called her and I said, okay, the other day when we were reading, did you actually see me? And she said, yeah. She goes, I was shocked. You sat up out of the victim. And I said, yeah, okay. That was real. And that's when I realized that I was actually shifting in time, back in time into that period. So I don't know why I can do it. I don't understand why I've been given the ability to do that or not. Um, Remote viewing, things like that. I watch Whimsy do it. I've seen Diane Terrell talk about it. I cannot make myself. The way I look at it is, if I went and was the fly on the White House wall watching in real time what was going on, I'd have guys knocking on my door, because if I can see them, chances are somebody can see me. And I don't really want to deal with that. I don't want to be there. So there's just things I stay out of. Um, I have some pretty strict ethic rules. The way I practice, use my abilities. I try not to monetize myself. Yes, I will accept donations. Yes, I will do readings for a reasonable and fair price. I'm not going to go around charging people $300-$500 for a reading. I can't do that. I've watched other readers that very talented get caught up in the ego and and they lose their gifts. What God gives you, God can take it away. I think my purpose is to help people, not to. If I was meant to be rich, I'd win the lottery. My guys are telling me I'm never going to win the lottery. I'm buy all the tickets I want. I'm never going to win the lottery. You know, I just can't do that. It's just not me. Don't ask me for lottery numbers. I won't give them to you even if I saw them. And I wouldn't run down and play them either. Actually, my guides actually gave me lottery ticket numbers. I wrote them down. I kept on going, I should go down and buy a ticket just to see. They told me it was coming up. They didn't tell me when. And I thought, ugh. And then I thought about it. I never picked up the paper off my desk. Every time I left the house, I forgot it. Never bought the tickets. And one day, I was sitting at my desk and I got the notification that the lottery had drawn on my computer. And I went, wonder if that number ever hit. And I went back, and sure enough, it had hit like 3 weeks after they gave me the ticket. I never bought the ticket. I could have hit the jackpot. I never played the numbers. I don't think I was meant to play. And all I heard was this, well, you passed the test. Okay. I never get the numbers anymore. But it's an interesting how my abilities work, and the gifts that I've been given to do that, and the going through the crisis, and being able to connect with spirit and to connect with that love energy that everybody has, and that my guides have, and to realize that there's something bigger than me out there, um, and that I've been given these gifts to also give that love energy, that light back out to the universe and to help people that are also needing help. Um, in regards to the visions you see, how you see spirit, everybody's different. Everybody describes it differently, um, of how they see. Some people don't see them at all. They just feel the energy in the room. Um, it's very interesting, at what level it. I've practiced a long time, and I've worked with my guides a lot, and as I developed my skills, because I didn't come with the whole package still, I didn't have all the abilities all at once. As I became more meditative and worked more in it, I would think, I wonder if I could do that. And then I would work with my guides and say, is this something I could do? Is this the approach I could take? And either I was ready for it or I wasn't. And the more connected, the more grounded I was, the more abilities I developed. And it is a developing skill. I'm always learning. I work with a lot of different psychics, and we learn from each other. And it's always nice. You grow up sort of isolated without a lot of people around you that have those abilities. And most people I know, when their parents recognize they have skills, they try to stop it. Now you don't, imaginary friends. And no, we don't talk about those things, that kind of stuff. And of course, your family's religious beliefs and stuff like that have play in it. But I know psychics that are Catholic, and evangelical, and from all different walks of life. It's everywhere, and despite maybe what the Orthodox churches and the secular churches say about it, um, people either use their skills or they let them go and they bury them. So, anyways, I'm babbling on. I don't know. Does anybody want to do any readings or have any questions that we could read on in this topic? Hey, warrior girl. I want to thank everybody that's come in. Too. Warrior girl, are you a reader? I'm just curious. You love the conversation. Yeah, JR, I've got to go back and I honestly cannot remember your readings. I know there's a theme going on for you, and you're like in this really positive energy flow. And I always feel that energy. I'm gonna have to actually go back and watch them because I have no recollection to what I've read. Um, I don't like watch myself read. It's weird. You're kinda, but not on YouTube. We should talk. I like to work with readers that are developing their skills. In fact, I was I think it was last night. I don't know, Dean, you were in the room. Was it last night? We jumped on Jay Harris's show. He was with that one of the first groups I worked with that I mentored in, Rana Unconditional Love, Sharon, Strawberry Rhubarb, and I are very good friends, and um, Lisa um, Smith that works with Debbie Freebird. Debbie Freebird was one of my mentors. Um, in fact, she was one of the first people I ever read with live. And let's see, who was it? And Jay Harris. We were a group, and we would meet every couple days, and we would just do read each other, skill develop, and stuff like that. It was really a fun group. It was almost like going out to dinner, meeting a group of friends, and we did it all. I mean, we're all over the. Sharon's in Canada, and Jay is down south here in California, and Ron's in in the Quebec area, um, and Lisa, Kentucky, and we became really good friends. And I helped them launch all their channels, and I kept them being told, "No, you just wait, 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 wait." And they're wonderful readers, all of them. And anyways, I jumped on Jay's channel. I haven't talked to Jay in probably about a year and a half. And in fact, we're gonna get together after I get through UCLA and know what's going on with that. And I'll see if he can come on one of the Sundays and do. He does these amazing. If you haven't watched Jay Harris, it's really good. He does these amazing oracle readings, and he'll do multiple oracle decks and lay out the oracles. He's an old soul. He is an old soul, and he just these beautiful readings. I mean, he reads oracle like other people read tarot. Um, Absolutely amazing readings, though. And if you haven't seen him, he has a wonderful channel. He also, I think, he does yoga and he does some meditation stuff. He has a channel on YouTube, and I think he has one's Instagram, and I don't know if he's doing a TikTok channel or not. There you go. Thank you, JR. And JR knows him. He's a sweetheart. He has got this beautiful voice for meditation. So he's such, I don't know, it's sort of like listening to Michael Jackson top. He's a really soft, easy voice. And he's easy on the eyes, easy in the ears, and just a sweetheart, though. Absolutely beautiful soul. Um, and so I look forward to connecting back with him and working with him. We haven't worked together in a long time. I also need to reach out to Sharon, and Sharon and I are like all over the place and working with different people now. We've gone in different directions, and absolutely love Sharon to death. She's soul sister. And yeah, I mean, we need to get back with Sharon, get Sharon back on the show, and collab with Sharon too. She's an absolutely fantastic reader, very skilled reader. I love it and enjoy working with her. And then Brenda's Tarot and Shar from the Netherlands. I think I'm going to be doing a program with Shar. I think Wednesday she's doing tea leaf readings now, and she's really good at it. And so she asked if she could do my tea leaves live. So that should be fun. And I said sure. So I need to get touch base with her again um, and work on that. But well, if you ever wanted to try out YouTube Warrior, let's get together and talk and get you comfortable with it. And maybe we can have you on and have you read with us. It's that first time is so scary. The first time I went live, I actually was I work with Scott. Um, I can't think of his channel name. Everybody knows Scott. Scott and Debbie and Danny and um, I can't think of what his channel name is. I'm drawing a blank. I do that. I get blanks. Anyways, I would watch him, and he reminds me of my cousin. I have a cousin that looks just like him, sounds just like him, and they're exactly the same age too. And I was reading in the background, putting my 2 cents in, and he said, "You're quite talented. Have you ever thought about reading?" I'm like, "Not really." We had started talking privately, and he finally talked me into trying reading online. I said, "Sure." I had been reading tarot and channeling, and I went on with Scott, and Debbie was there, and Lilac Lantern had just started a channel, and oh man, those two, Lilac is just an amazing reader, and I just got pulled into this vortex of energy that I had never been in before. I had never read with other people before. Um, it's amazing to work with other readers because your energy level shifts, and you become one somehow. I don't know how to explain it, but you have this swirl of vortex of energy, and the first time you do it, you get that, oh my gosh, what's happening, And I was buzzing, and I was just reading, just snap, snap, snap. I'm better than I'd ever read before. It just came so naturally and so easy. Then I went back and watched it, and I went, oh my god, I look just like my mother, which I do, especially when my hair turned white. Um, It was like watching my mom read when I was young, and she didn't do readings. My mom would be those matter of fact people. People walk in, and my mom would just like something would come. And she'd say, "Oh, you don't borrow." She told me once, "Don't let my boyfriend drive my car. He's going to turn around, and wreck the car, and someone's going to get killed." 2 weeks later, he took my car without my permission, got in a wreck, and his best friend was killed in an accident. I mean, and she'd get this look of matter of factly on her face. Scott Allen, yes, Scott Allen. That's who I started with, and he's such a sweet guy. And yeah, I need to reach out to some of my old people that I haven't read with forever and touch base with them and get back in the swing of things. But yeah, Scott Allen, fun to read with, and yeah, he's the one that introduced me to the community and got me exposed. And then I was like the ultimate guest speaker. I was guesting. I didn't even have my own channel. Everybody was going, "You need to start your own channel. Start your own channel." I had more fun reading. I love reading with people, and I love connecting with that energy. So that's why I hook with Dean and Sharon, and it's fun to read with other people. It's the energy level's different, and it's always amazing when we're throwing the same cards, or we're one's reading one and and the other person's finishing the story. Um, the readings can get really interesting. I know about Kat. I've read for her, but I haven't read with her. Um, every time we try to collab together, something happens. So maybe we're just not meant to read together. But we've read for each other, and I know Dean's worked with Black Cat. I love her energy. And there's another person that has gone through a lot too. And should have been a perfect person to have on this, keeping your faith and dealing with medical issues. Yeah, she's a wonderful woman though. But anyways, I'm gonna let everybody go, and um, like I said, I'm gonna start doing my I do some really deep meditations, and I channel, and I instead of write and scribble and draw like Kim does, um, I am actually I go into deep meditation and I start writing. My guards start writing. They can actually spell too. Is the funny part. Um, very few typos when I'm typing in and I'm meditating. Um, I'm always amazed at what comes out, and it's really fun to do that too because I get a lot of really strong messages. But I do that deep trance meditation, and I love writing. So I love to do that. So if you guys come up with topics and questions that you want me to address with my guides, I would love to do some channeling and do some writing that way and answer questions like that. The other person I need to probably work with is Susan. I actually, the cards are for you guys. I actually channel more than I do. If you see me in the background reading other people's channels, I'm just channeling. I'm not actually throwing cards. I'm just getting hits. Yeah, I'm an open channel, so and why I can't remember what I read when I'm talking with Jr. It's because I'm channeling spirit when I'm reading tarot. So I don't know. My tarot cards I don't always read them like the book would say. Um, I read through sometimes I'll look at a card and this card will be the card I'm looking at. It's dark in here because the sun's going down, and I'll notice something in the wallpaper that stood out, and so what stood out in the Why? I don't know, but that's where the message was from on that card. Eh, a lot of readers read that way, so when we are reading tarot and spirit cards and things, and oracle cards and things like that, um, we don't always go with what the author of the book or the writer of the deck says. We go by imaging, the artwork, it just depends on how you receive messages. It's all a fascinating way that spirits bring those messages through. But anyways, I'm going to wrap it up. We had 2-hour readings earlier. I'm actually working on political programming on some of the set it up Q&As. Please, if you have any political questions, I love doing politicals, especially with Dean, because Dean doesn't follow the news. And so when Dean reads, he's doing truly cold readings. I'm a news junkie. I'm a get the and it's actually I don't follow news stations. I follow Modest Touch because I worked in law and I was a paralegal, and so I do a lot of legal research and stuff. When they're talking about statutes, I'm actually looking them up and reading the statutes, going, you know, I would love to sit there and debate with him. My son-in-law is in fact in law school, and we get together and yeah, the law topics we try to not to talk about it in front of my daughter because she gets all bent out of shape. But my son-in-law and I will get on a topic of some legal complex thing, and we can talk for hours. But yeah, I'm a weirdo when it comes to stuff like that. Um, and I love research and history and science. I still have access to a lot of stuff from when I was in college. But yeah, and so anyways, I look forward to it. I'm going to be trying to get. I will try not to drop off the face of the earth again, and at least keep people informed what's going on. I know my gut tells me I'm going to end up back in surgery on my leg, but not going to worry about it. I'll be in the hospital 3 or 4 days, in and out, probably with a drain. My husband looked at me, he goes, "Yeah, you're going to have another drain put in." I'm like, I hope not, but we'll do what we have to do. That's Mr. Crumpy running through. Would you hit the light? Anyways, he doesn't feel good. He did some yard work, moved a little more. His back's still bothering him after all these months. But any questions? I did open a community page. I will create one probably tomorrow because I'm tired. I'm gonna shut both my computers down. I'll set one up for topics that maybe people want, or questions that you guys would like me to channel and discuss, and we can do like an open forum. It would be really, I think it'd be really fun to come up with some topics that people want to talk about. If you are in your skills or skill building and you're interested in talking to me, and I don't charge for mentorship or anything like that, but I love working with people. Um, you want to do some skill building, some practice readings, talk about issues you've come up with. I know if you're not connected with a group of people, it's so nice to be able to ask questions with people that are working. Email me at guided light. It's on my page. Look at my description in my channel description. My email's there. It automatically sends it to my phone and pops up. So I will open those and we'll connect, or friend me in Messenger through Facebook Messenger, and we can FaceTime and talk real time. And I would love to work with anybody that's interested in talking, skill building, anything like that. I enjoy doing that. Yeah, email me. Yeah. And then I'm under Kathy Stafford with the same icon as on my channel button, short red purple shirt. Just let me know that if you are under a different name, let me know who you are, what you are on in the chat, so I recognize you, because I will not, if I don't recognize the name, I don't friend them. Um, because you'd be surprised at the number of people that friend request me that are servicemen, and I'm a 60-year-old woman. You know, why am I getting these men chasing me? I don't get it. Um, anyways, yeah, I would love to work with anybody that wants to work with me. It's fun. It's really great to have people to talk with that when you're skill building and or you have questions or you're it just really helps tremendously when you are workers. So anyways, I love you all. Thank you for coming on tonight. And Dean and I will be recording the politicals. I've got about 3 pages of politicals. Jump in the community page, add questions. You can even put the spiritual ones in there because I'm going to print out the whole thing. If you like the question somebody else asked, just yeah, put a like on that. You know that yeah, that's one of your questions too. Um, or that way we don't get people asking the same question over and over again. Um, the only thing I don't want to read on is Israel and Gaza because I've really the energy there is really hard for me. It's suffocating for me. I don't know why. I don't like the energy of that war and the pain of the people losing their life, the innocent people that are caught up in this stupid war. Um, I have a hard one with that. But other than that, the free for all with Trump and I've we're trying to take a different angles that not the same thing everybody else is reading on because I get tired of the repetition. So my room is getting really dark. The sun's going down, and my husband didn't turn the light on for me. So I'm going to let everybody go. I love you all. Thank you for coming in. Hit the like button. If you're not getting notifications timely, if you'll go into the bell, turn it off, and then just turn it back on to receive notifications, that will reset your notification launch. And because I've been off for 9 months, they're not going out really timely. Um, so yeah, and I'm subscribed to my own channel and I'm not getting my own notifications till I've been on for about 10 minutes. So that can make a big difference. And I've got to go through and hopefully I can do some shorts. I got to figure out how to do that because I'm so out of it. But anyways, thank you all for coming and listening to me babble on. And I hope I was helpful. And I love you all. And we will see you later on this week. We're going to do some pre-recordings on the politicals, so just watch for the notifications. I think Jean and I will be running them on both channels. And so watch for those coming out. And we will see you Saturday. And we will let people know what time we're going to go on Saturday because I think we're going to go do a more evening type show rather than midday because the weather's getting too great and we're not getting a lot of traffic during the day because people have lives. So enjoy. Have a great evening, and I will talk to you later. Bye.